All right, a happy Tuesday to you, friends. I'm ABC 24 meteorologist Trevor Birchett going live with an update on the threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms later on today. We're going to give everybody just a little bit to join, so stay with us. I'm going to send out an alert on our app, but we will get things going here momentarily. Stick with us. While we're waiting, let us know down in the comments on Facebook where you're watching from. And like I said, we'll get this update going here in just a bit. Again, like I said, if you're just joining us, we're going to get started here in just a little bit. Want to give folks time to check in and get settled. I know Facebook likes to send these notifications out a little slowly, so if you'll bear with us, like I said, we'll make sure we're on ABC 24 Plus and on all the other platforms, and we will have that full update in just a moment. All right, so if you're just joining us, I'm meteorologist Trevor Birchett with ABC 24 News. We are going to do a quick update on the chances of some severe weather in the Mid-South a little bit later today, but we do already have some storms rolling through the area. So if you are over in eastern Arkansas, you might already be hearing some thunder, some heavy rain, things like that, because that first wave of storms is already moving through the area. Now, we don't expect this round of storms that's coming in now to necessarily be severe, although they could certainly produce some heavy rain, maybe even a little hail in the strongest storms. That's this first round, we'll say now through lunchtime, but the significant risk of severe weather, the better chance of severe weather, we'll say, is going to come in a little bit later this afternoon. I want to start out with what's going on right now. And again, like I said, while I share this over to my page, we are streaming on all of our platforms. We're on ABC 24 Plus. We are on YouTube, Facebook, all of the above. So if you want to comment down below, let us know where you're watching. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I will keep an eye on those comments as we go through the rest of this stream. Like I said, we'll start out with what is going on right now. We've already got some stronger thunderstorms moving into Arkansas. Forest City really getting in on some stronger storms right now. Some lightning and heavy rain over there. In fact, we put on our lightning counter. We got about 15 strikes of lightning out of this storm already. And this is going to be generally moving up toward the Memphis area. So over the next hour, hour and a half, let's say a little closer to 10 or 11, we will have some rain and storm activity in Memphis. Again, like I said, this first round early in the afternoon, we don't expect to be severe. It's that later round, a little closer to dinner time. So yes, some heavy storms, gusty winds, maybe even some hail possible by lunchtime, but it's going to be the afternoon we really start to watch into the evening. Clarksdale really getting hammered right now with some heavy rain. That's going to be coming into Marks and Lambert in Quitman County, Mississippi here in just a little bit. We put on our storm track and you can see a good chance of hail, 50% chance of hail there. Hail size up to 1/2 inch. And we actually do have a, looks like a storm, let's see. That is going to be a special weather statement. Basically what that is the National Weather Service is saying this storm is strong, but it's not severe. So they've put out that alert saying heads up. But again, we don't expect these to necessarily be severe, but they will pack a punch this first round of storms. And we've got more where that came from. We'll zoom out and kind of put everything into motion here. So again, if you're in northern Mississippi, DeSoto County into Memphis, get the rain gear handy, plan something inside for lunch because these storms are rolling on in. Let's go ahead and get over to our forecast though, because this is what really we're going to be watching is later on into the day. So here's what you need to know. We do expect those storms to move in through lunchtime. 10 a.m. Through 11 a.m., 1 p.m., things like that. We don't expect that round of storms to be severe. The round of storms we're going to watch to be severe is later on today. 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., that is the best chance of seeing any rough weather. And that's the time frame we are really going to be watching. Now, a little bit of good news for you today. The severe weather outlook decreased just a little bit overnight since I last talked to you yesterday. And we kind of expected this because the best ingredients for severe weather are really way down to our south, closer to Greenville, Mississippi, Greenwood, Jackson, Columbus, Mississippi, over to Starkville, Mississippi State areas. That's the area that has the highest energy for storms. we still have plenty of energy to work with here in Memphis. It's just less. It doesn't take much. We still have that energy here. So now it's a level 3 out of 5, pretty much a medium risk for Memphis down into North Mississippi, much of eastern Arkansas. Other areas in that level 2 out of 5. That's for places like Poinsett County, Wynne, Cross County, Mississippi County, Arkansas, into Dyersburg and Ripley, Tennessee. Now, here's what we're thinking with our storm threats. They really have not changed that much. Everything pretty much right down the middle at a medium risk. These storms that pop up later today, damaging wind gusts, 60 miles an hour. It does not take a tornado to do damage. I know that's what a lot of people focus on, is the tornado risk. You get a gust of wind, 60 to 70 miles an hour, you're having power lines come down, you're having trees come down, then you got power outages, and then it's just a whole mess. You got shingles off the roof, you got Christmas decorations down the road. Keep that in mind. Go ahead and secure anything outside. Hail, it's possible. I do think in the heaviest of the storms today, we could have some heavy rain that leads to some street flooding in the areas that always flood. I'm looking at like East Memphis right there in front of it. It's like Poplar and Ridgeway. It seems like it floods no matter what. So keep in mind those areas that always flood. And again, in the strongest of storms, we cannot rule out a tornado. Now, I want to break down this risk a little bit, because what some people think, and I don't think we do a great job of explaining this on TV just because we don't have a lot of time, but on Facebook, I got all the time I want. And on ABC 24 Plus, that's the cool thing about it. When we give you these risks, that does not mean every single person in the area is going to see these risks. In fact, most of us today will not see severe weather. On the worst severe weather days, most of us do not see severe weather. What this means is when you have a medium risk like this, there are going to be some storms that can turn severe. In those storms that turn severe, we could see these threats. That does not mean the entire area is going to see those risks. It's just in the strongest storms. We could have one storm today that turns out severe, has some wind and hail, and that could be it. Hopefully that is it. Hopefully it does not go any further than that. But it's still a risk we need to take seriously. I wanted to hit on this storm energy because I was talking about that, how the highest energy is down to our south. And you can see that clearly. What we're looking at here, think about this as like the ingredients. A lot of meteorologists like to compare this to baking a cake. Think about your storm ingredients as everything you would need to bake a cake. The eggs, the flour, the icing, all of that. Well, the ingredients themselves don't do anything. You need to put them all together and put them in the oven to get a cake. Just because you have ingredients on the table does not mean you're getting a cake. You know, there has to be some action to put them all together, get them in the oven. So that's what we're going to be looking for today. We have all the ingredients in the world to make severe weather, even as far north as Memphis. The question is, can we get a storm that comes along that can perfectly tap into those ingredients? And if that happens, that's when we could see those risks, the damaging wind, the hail, maybe even tornadoes that we were just talking about. As far as the storm energy goes, the reason that risk was shifted a little bit is because you can clearly see that highest energy, the brightest colors, down to our south, Jackson, Mississippi, Vicksburg, northern Louisiana, over to the Golden Triangle, Meridian, Columbus area. That is the area that has the highest storm energy. But we have storm energy all the way up into Memphis. There's just not as much of it, but there is still enough storm energy up here to get some storms going. We have had strong thunderstorms with less energy than what we have today. It's just a matter of, can the right storm come along? So that's what we're really going to be watching for, but that is why that risk kind of moved down to the south a little bit. The highest risk remains down to the south, but we are still in a risk nonetheless. Let me time it out for you hour by hour. In fact, we've got a brand new model run in, and I'm actually going to switch this over because I think another model is doing a little bit better with this system than the model that we typically use, and I think this will just maybe give you a better idea of what we're looking at here. So let me just switch this over really quick. This is the best thing, in my opinion, about doing these live streams is we can do whatever we want. We're not limited by time. I can talk to you guys. I see Kimberly has commented, watching from Horn Lake, my old stomping grounds. I'm from South Haven, so I know that area well. Always keeping an eye on DeSoto County for my friends and family. So again, through the hour by hour forecast, you can see by noon, we're going to have these storms in the area. I don't expect these to be necessarily severe, but they could produce some heavy rain and some gusty winds. What I'm really going to be watching for is about this time frame. And I'm kind of going back and forth here, just kind of checking this out with you guys. Here's 4 p.m. and it's these isolated storms here east of Memphis over in eastern Arkansas. These are the storms that could be severe. I'm not saying they will be, but it's a possibility. And just because the model has them in a specific place doesn't mean that's where they're going to be. You see, like this particular model has a storm over Fayette County at 4 p.m. Not necessarily. This just is kind of a model, an idea of what could happen. So don't get caught up on that. But what is concerning to me is that this model keeps wanting to pop up these isolated cells, one here, one there, one there. Now what this means a couple of things. First of all, it means tonight there are going to be some people that don't see a storm at all. There are going to be some people that are completely dry for dinner time, and they're going to be like, what severe weather? Then some people are going to get caught under these heavy downpours and have the risk of severe weather. Where those are going to pop up, we don't know yet. We'll have to watch. But that's kind of the setup right now. The thing is, storms like to be by themselves. When they're by themselves, one storm alone, it can take all of the energy and use it for itself. Whereas if you have like a line of thunderstorms, not one specific area can take all the energy. If we do see the radar looking like this at 6 p.m., where we have a storm here, a storm there, it's kind of isolated, that could be a little more concerning, and it could lead to a little bit of a higher weather threat for us. But we'll just have to watch and see exactly how things pan out. I will tell you that I still think 3 p.m., especially into dinner time and the drive home, that is going to be the highest risk. If we're going to see severe weather, that is when it's going to be 3 p.m., dinner time, possibly as late as 11 p.m. if you live over in northeastern Mississippi. You can see by 10 or 11, we've still got these isolated storms trying to pop up in northeastern Mississippi. Now the difference is, if we zoom this out, you can see there's a lot more storm activity to our south. So I still think down to the south has the highest risk of bad storms. That does not mean we cannot get a severe thunderstorm here. I hope that I will see you tomorrow morning, and this has been a bust. We've had a little bit of rain, some wind, nothing has happened, but I can't guarantee that. And that's why I'm with you today. It's not to scare you, because my favorite thing to say is if you're scared or if you're prepared, there's no reason to be scared. I know a lot of people get worked up and anxious, and part of that is probably our fault. I know it is. We put the flashy backgrounds, the alert banners, and all of that stuff. But what we try to do at ABC 24 is just inform you, because the more informed you are, the more safe you can be. I think you can go about your day as normal, go about your dinner time as normal. Maybe try to leave work a little early if you can, because you could have some heavy downpours. Download our app, ABC 24. We'll actually send you an alert if a storm is approaching your neighborhood. That's when you need to act. Otherwise, go about your day as normal. Leslie says, when will it hit downtown Memphis? We've got a couple of rounds of storms, Leslie. One of those is going to be closer to lunchtime, 11 a.m. into noon. I think we'll have some storms here in downtown Memphis. And then it's going to be a little closer to dinner time for a second round of storms that could impact the Memphis metro. So lunchtime, some storms, maybe a little break, and then 4, 5, 6 p.m., another chance of some showers and storms. But again, like I said, these storms are pretty isolated. So some people could go all day without seeing storms. It's just a matter of where these things decide to pop up. And unfortunately, the science is not good enough to pin that down yet. I wish it was. It'd make my job a lot easier if I could tell you, hey, this particular city is going to see a storm at this point. But we're just not there yet. All right, I'm about to have to run here. I got to give a weather update to our team in the newsroom so they can kind of know what's going on. That's coming up here at about 9:30. But before I go, actually, let's do this. Let's do a quick weather update again on what's going on right now, because we've kind of talked about what's coming. I'm keeping a close eye on this storm down here. And again, like we said, these storms that we're expecting through the daytime, now through 2 p.m., they're not necessarily going to be severe, but they could be strong. This storm coming into Marks and Quitman County, eventually Panola County, it's producing some gusty winds. It is producing some hail and heavy downpours and a lot of lightning. So even though these are not necessarily severe right now, they could still pack a punch. So don't be too caught off guard now to 1 p.m., you're probably going to see a quick heavy downpour, some gusty winds and lightning. But that's not the main round of storms. That main round is going to be 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and that's the round that could be a little trickier that we have to keep a closer eye on. We are not going anywhere. I'm staying here into the afternoon, and then Chief Meteorologist John Bryant, Meteorologist Danielle Moss, they'll be coming in. We'll be keeping a close eye on it for you. Trust that if a situation does develop that is a life-threatening situation, we will be on TV. We'll be here wherever you're watching us now. If we have threatening weather, you'll be able to watch us again. So if that's on abc24.com, if that's on that ABC24 app, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're seeing us now, stay tuned to, because we will let you know if we come back on live for a threatening situation a little bit later today. Like I said, you also download that app, you get an alert if a storm is approaching into your neighborhood. So I'm going to look over the radar. I'll keep a close eye on this. Again, I don't expect this to be too crazy, but some hail is possible in these storms. And I'll be back here in about an hour and a half. We have a full update on ABC 24 News midday at 11 a.m. We will see you then. And then, of course, we'll keep an eye on the weather all day long. I imagine that at some point we'll be back live to give you further updates. But if you have any questions, comments, let them know. I'll get to them. Just stay tuned to us here. And if anything does pop up, you'll be the first to know right here on ABC 24. Keep an eye on the weather today, but go about your routine as normal. Don't let it disrupt you too much. We'll let you know if you need to take action.